In this tutorial, I will be giving you an overview of the Divi Builder email opt-in module. The email opt-in module allows your visitors to subscribe to your mailing list. Now, at this time, the Divi Builder email opt-in module supports 3 different email service providers: MailChimp, Aweber, and FeedBurner. And it acts as the middleman between your visitors and these service providers. So MailChimp, for example, will be managing your list. You'll be using MailChimp to send your emails. But you can create a form on Divi that will allow your visitors to subscribe to that MailChimp list. And the same for Aweber and FeedBurner. And in this tutorial, I'm just going to be showing you how to use MailChimp. But like I said, it supports Aweber and FeedBurner as well. So be sure to read the text-based tutorial below this video for full instructions on how to configure each of these email service providers. And we plan to add more in the future as well. So please check below if the service you plan to use isn't included in this video tutorial. Now, here's an example of what these email opt-in modules look like. You can define a title, some content text, and onto the right or below the text is an opt-in form that the visitors can use to input their email address and then subscribe to your mailing list. A good example of where we might want to use this is in your blog. So here I've created a basic blog page, and at the bottom of the blog I would like to add the opt-in form to allow my visitors to subscribe to my list so that I can send them updates when I write new blog posts. Now, before you can actually use the module, the first thing you have to do is authorize Divi with your email service provider, and in this tutorial I will be using MailChimp. And like I said, the process is different with each provider, so be sure to check below for full details on how to configure each of the 3. So the first thing you're going to want to do for MailChimp is log into your WordPress dashboard and look for the Divi link on the left here, and then look for the theme options button. Now, if you're using the Divi Builder plugin, it's going to say plugin options, not theme options, but the basic process is the same. Once you load up the theme options, look for the MailChimp API key, and this is where you're going to want to paste that MailChimp API key, which is going to allow Divi to authorize with your account. But before you can enter it, you're going to have to locate that API key in your MailChimp account. So go ahead and log into your MailChimp account. You go to the account page and look for the extras drop-down menu and then the API keys link. And then you're going to get a list of all of your API keys that you've created if you have created them. And if you haven't, you're going to want to click the create a key button down here. And that's going to generate a new API key that you can then copy and paste into the field here. And generally you want to keep these API keys secret. In the case of this tutorial, this is just a test MailChimp account, so I'm not worried about you seeing these API keys, but generally, don't share them with anybody. And I would also, we'd recommend enabling the regenerate MailChimp lists option if you are using MailChimp. And what this will do is simply, every time you use the module, it will grab all of your lists again to make sure it's updated correctly, and you have the most recent representation of your account within the module. And once you've done that, simply click Save, and then you're ready to go. You're ready to use the module. So I'm going to swing back to our blog page here, which is where I want to use the actual opt-in module at the bottom of the blog here. I'm going to edit the page, and at the very bottom of the page, I'm going to add a new row, and within that row, I'm going to add the module. So I clicked Insert Module, and now I'm looking for the Email Opt-in module, which is right here. And once you click that, you're going to be greeted with the full list of the Email Opt-in module settings. As with all Divi Builder settings, they are separated into 3 different tabs: General Settings, Advanced Design Settings, and Custom CSS. As a general philosophy, everything you need to create a really cool and advanced page is right inside the General Settings tab. So there's no need to venture outside this tab unless you want to have even more control over the appearance of your module. In that case, you can venture into the Advanced Design Settings tab, which has a bunch of great design-related settings, and you can customize absolutely everything in here. So there's a ton of different settings to choose from. You can adjust the font size, font weight, color, line height, letter spacing, background color, border color, all that great stuff. And if you're CSS savvy, you can also jump into the custom CSS tab and add your own custom CSS instead of using the design settings tab, if you so choose. And I have some great tutorials that go over the advanced design settings and custom CSS, so be sure to check those out. But in this tutorial, I'm just going to focus on the general settings. So starting off with the first general setting, you're going to want to choose your service provider. And in this case, we'll be using MailChimp, so I have MailChimp selected here. And then you're going to want to choose the list that you are building from. So in this case, since I've authenticated my account, I will have a list of all my MailChimp lists here. I only have one, so I'm going to select that MailChimp list. And that's it. So now we've authorized MailChimp, we've selected our list, and now whenever someone subscribes using this particular module, they'll be added to this particular list inside of my MailChimp account. So moving on, the next setting is the title, which will appear above the form and above your content text in a larger font size. You might want to say something like, subscribe to our blog. You can also customize the button text. So I might just say, subscribe today with an exclamation mark. You can choose whether or not to use a background color. In this case, I will use a background color, and I'm going to use this blue background color, but you can change that if you like. And then you can choose your text color. Since I'm using a rather dark background color, I'm going to want to use light text. But if you were using a light background color, you'd want to switch this to dark text to ensure that the text is readable. Next up, you can choose your text orientation, whether it be left, right, centered, or justified. I'm going to keep it left aligned in this case. And then you can also input some content text, which will be placed below your title text, which we defined earlier. So I'm just going to paste in some text here to use. But you might want to put in some text here that encourages your visitors to subscribe. Perhaps you have a special offer or something along those lines. Whatever you can do to encourage people to subscribe to your list. Now, whenever you're building a new module and editing the settings, you can get a preview of what you've built so far by clicking this preview icon here. So I'm going to click that. And this will give me a preview of the module I'm building inside of the current section. So we have our blog module, and below that we have our email opt-in module, which I just added. And you can bounce between the responsive design testing tabs to get a peek at what your current module and section look like at different screen sizes. So this is looking pretty good. I'm going to save and exit, and then we can take a look at our page on the front end to see what we've built so far. So I'm going to update the page, then click the view page link, and here we go. We built a nice blog page, and at the bottom of our blog, we have the subscribe module. Now, another great way to use this would be to place it inside of a section that has a colored background as well, and then remove the background from the opt-in module, which will make it stand out even more, give it that full width effect, since the section actually butts up against all sides of the browser. So I'm going to go back and just show you how that might be done. I'm going to add a new section below, and I'm going to drag in this row, delete this other row, and no need for that. I'm going to move into the email opt-in settings, and I'm going to turn off the background color by selecting no for the use background color setting. And then I'm going to apply a background color to the section instead. So I'm going to choose a nice purple color here. And as always, we can get a nice preview of what we built so far by clicking the preview icon. So here, we've changed the background color of the section to purple. Again, we can check it out in different responsive resolutions. It's looking good, so I'm going to save and exit, and we can take a look at what we built on the front end. And if we scroll down, we see we have this nice full width section, and it gives it a much stronger appearance, and perhaps it'll even increase conversion rates. Now, as I mentioned before, you can also do a lot of work inside of the Advanced Design Settings tab. So I'm just going to touch on this very briefly. If you jump into the Advanced Design Settings, you can customize just about anything. For example, if I were like to maybe change the default title size, maybe make it bold and all caps, and bump up the text size a little bit, you can do that. You can also use a custom button style. So perhaps I would want to make the subscribe button stand out a little bit. Maybe that'll also catch people's eye and perhaps increase conversion rate. So I'm going to choose a custom button style, maybe change the background color to green, and take a quick peek at the preview here. Now we have a green button. We have this bigger title with a new font that's all caps and bold, and it's looking really great now. So I'm going to save that, update, and I think we've created quite a good subscribe module at this point. So let's take a look. Scroll down, and there we go. Beautiful full width section, background color, bumped up our title a little bit, green button. It's looking really good, and I think it's really going to result in a lot of new subscribers for our mailing list. And that's a basic overview of the email opt-in module in the Divi Builder.